Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, at least 55 people are killed in a bush crash in western Kenya. Police suspect that the vehicle lost control as it travelled from Nairobi to the town of Kakamega. Also, a month after a thawing in relations between Ethiopia and Eritrea led to the reopening of borders between the two former rivals, the number of Eritreans crossing over, hoping to stay, has topped 15,000. And we hear from award-winning Kenyan chart toppers Sauti Sol as they pass through Paris on their European tour. They had fans all around the world, but say when it comes to their sound, they are keen on keeping it Kenyan. But first, at least 55 people have been killed in a bus accident in Kenya. The vehicle was travelling from Nairobi to the western town of Kisumu when it reportedly veered off the road and tore through a guardrail. Alison Sargent has more.
Its roof was completely torn off when the bus plunged off the road into this field. Police say the vehicle swerved while driving down a steep part of the road, plowing through a guardrail and rolling as it fell several meters.
Information we have is that the driver lost control as was descending. You can see very steep descent.
The bus was traveling west from the capital Nairobi when it ran off the road near Kericho at 4 a.m. Locals woken up by the sound of the crash were the first on the scene.
We found passengers screaming and calling for help. We managed to save some of them who were alive, but I don't think it was any more than 10 people. The others were already dead.
Police say at least 50 people were killed, including 7 children. The Kenyan president, Uhuru Kenyatta, said authorities are investigating the cause of the accident and reminded drivers to exercise caution. The World Health Organization ranks Kenya as one of the most dangerous countries for road deaths. According to government statistics, nearly 3,000 Kenyans die in traffic accidents every year. Last December, 36 people died in a head-on collision between a bus and a truck. And in 2016, more than 40 people were killed when a fuel tanker lost control on a busy highway.
2 teachers have been killed in a bombing near Kenya's border with Somalia. The attacks being blamed on al-Shabaab extremists. It happened early Wednesday after at least 20 suspected militants reportedly attacked teachers' quarters at the Arabia Boys Secondary School in Lafay and threw a bomb into staff residences. Al-Shabaab's targeted Kenya in revenge for its sending of troops to Somalia to fight the extremist group in 2011. On Wednesday, a 17-year-old Moroccan girl confronted one of the 12 men she accuses of having held her captive for 2 months, gang-raped her and forcibly tattooing her. Known as Khadija, she was in court with the only minor in the group she says was responsible for her ordeal. He's also 17. Because of his age, faces a separate trial on charges of human trafficking, abuse and rape. Khadija's case sparked outrage across Morocco. Violence against women in the country is largely ignored, and the plaintiff has said that she hopes her case will encourage others to speak out.
I call on all women to be courageous and to talk about the issues affecting them. They must speak up. I hope that rape will end in Morocco and that what happened to me will never happen again to anyone else.
Now, a month ago, Ethiopian and Eritrean heads of state officially reopened the borders between the two countries, borders that have been closed since the war of 1998 to 2000. Around 100,000 people were killed in that conflict, and it sparked almost 2 decades of diplomatic hostility. The rapid thawing of relations this year has reunited families and led to a sharp rise in the number of Eritreans crossing the border with no intention of returning. Our correspondents have more.
For 20 years in Eritrea, Fana had no news from her sister. It's been just 2 days since they were reunited, thanks to the opening of the border with Ethiopia.
I'm very happy. I can't describe it. Thanks to the peace and calm, we're together again. We were apart for 20 years, and it felt like twice that. Now we're very happy to see each other, even if when she arrived, my sister realized some people were missing.
Her brother, who stayed in Ethiopia, died during her absence, and part of her family is still in Eritrea.
I was looking forward to finding my mother, my brothers, my family. My daughter really wanted to come with me, but she couldn't because she has young children. I left her in tears.
She hopes her daughter and grandchildren will also soon be able to join them in the border town of Zala and Besa. This road, previously impassable, is now used by thousands each day. At the moment, Ethiopians and Eritreans can come and go without a visa. It's a boon for trade. Dozens of trucks pass regularly from one country to the other. Small traders are also earning money. The town's market is experiencing a revival.
Before, we couldn't do anything. Now, everyone is trading on both sides of the border, so it's very good. The only problem when we go to Eritrea is that they don't accept Ethiopian money, but we will take their money.
This woman is heading back to her home in Eritrea, but many are choosing not to go home, instead heading to large Ethiopian cities. According to the European Union, 15,000 Eritreans have already crossed the border since it opened.
Now, award-winning Kenyan Afro-pop group Sauti Sol won Best African Group in the 2016 MTV Africa Music Awards and a host of other accolades over the years. They're currently on tour in Europe, and I caught up with them earlier on their way through Paris. Have a listen. You have a pretty international following. You've played all around the world. And I believe that even former US President Barack Obama once said that they were dancing to your music in Californian clubs. But is it important to you to keep things Kenyan and in terms of your sound? And how do you even do that?
I mean, keeping things Kenyan is what has gotten us to where we are right now. We are authentically and realistically Kenyan in our sound, in our mannerisms, but in a general sense, it still makes us African holistically. We're still African at the end of the day, but yes, keeping it Kenyan is important because we're the only ones who can tell the story of our people and where we come from for the rest of the world to totally understand.
And how does that translate into the music itself?
Sound, the choice of instruments, the choice of the language, the visuals too. Like if you look at the visuals, we try as much as possible to shoot our videos in Africa and in Kenya more so. So it's a mix of, you know, the different things that you find. It's a collage of food, clothes, language, and yeah.
It's usually the trick. I was watching the video for Melanin actually, and like when I was preparing for the interview, and I was just like, oh my god, I really need to up my game. He's wearing a beautiful. I want to join this. Literally. But you have a huge Kenyan following as well as followers all around the world, and I think there were a lot of broken hearts earlier this year when there were reports that you guys were thinking of possibly moving on or doing something else. Too. So wait, let's just clarify things. What is next for you, and are you giving up music? Are you relocating from Kenya?
First of all, man, it's so interesting to see, like, they just confirmed the fact that bad news, like, travels faster. Like, it was just a joke, and it was taken out of context by a blog.
Phew!
Yeah. So a blog just took it and exploded it, and it became, like, news. But Sauti Sol is here to stay. We are working on a current project. We are working on an album, which we're gonna release next year. So we're putting all our effort into giving our fans just new music. Yeah, and I would say, like, it's just music. So our fans should expect just more good content from Sauti Sol. Unless one of you wants to lead the band. I don't know.
Well, everyone happy where they are?
No, we're together first.
For you. Okay.
Hukes.
So let's talk a little bit about your development as artists working together over the years. You started off as an a cappella group.
Yeah.
So how did you move into introducing instruments? Was that a natural transition, or was that a very conscious decision that you made?
So how the group started with the three of them were in the same high school. They're in an a cappella group. And I joined them later on came in with the acoustic guitar. Then we formed Sauti Sol. And then with time, everybody just picked up an instrument. And as we're evolving as a band, then everybody gets to know what they love to play and what they love to play most. And then we just gel together as a band. So he plays saxophone, he plays drums and bass now, and he plays guitar, keyboards. So it just keeps growing and growing, and you keep challenging yourself. Yeah, with time.
It's just a mix.
Melange. Oh, you said melange. Melange.
You're baking a great cake.
Of sounds.
Well, you can see the full interview plus an on-set serenade that I received that will no doubt be the highlight of my week by heading to France 24's Eye on Africa page online. Thanks for joining us. Do so again if you can. Take care.